If the human anthill isn't destroyed every 100 years, if their nests aren't ruined so they have to build new ones, then humanity will want to flourish and live in peace. But to make sure life never seems too sweet for them, they're constantly subjected to wars, extremely brutal wars. Every 100 years, just look at what happened 100 years ago in Russia, what happened 100 years ago in France. Friends, all of this leads one to think that we will never be allowed to live normally, well and peacefully without wars. There will always be wars, because that's how things are managed. Management, after all, also consists of someone who knows how to think. Even if it's artificial intelligence works everything out precisely. That's it, friends, it's over. 80 years go by and you get one kind of war, 100 years go by and you get another kind of war. And every 20 years, somewhere on the planet, a brutal war is happening. As for France, yesterday France rose up in a great revolutionary surge. I just didn't see Joan of Arc on the barricades. I didn't see France itself, the revolution of France, that Parisian girls with torn blouses, or rather with bare chests and ripped shirts. This is purely French, my friends. They've always had this kind of attitude. Every time they have a revolution, there's always a woman's bare chest involved. But Macron decided to break with these traditions and chose to marry someone quite unexpected. It's like the fairy tale about Tsar Sultan. Not an animal, not a puppet, but someone no one really knows, right? And so we find ourselves in a situation where we're caught in some kind of moral, physical, or even physiological vice. In short, France stood up and said, "We'll block everything. We'll block everything. Schools have already shut down. Students too." And that's a huge, huge move for the future. That this revolution won't be over in 2 hours. And it won't be over in 2 days either. It will last for some time yet. This is truly a revolution. A revolution that will bring about widespread chaos across Europe. France needed to be brought down a notch too. France hasn't started being ruined just today. It's been happening since 2018. One revolution after another keeps being stirred up. Don't you remember? Just look at the reports, just the reports. Type in "Paris is burning" and you'll see. How many times has Paris burned during this period? So, Paris caught fire yesterday just like that because of Macron, because Zelensky gave him drugs as a gift. Remember, that was a setup, a trip up from Zelensky? Well, who actually believes Zelensky, friends? Are you out of your mind? How can you trust a clown on the world stage of a circus? Of course not. So Macron went to visit him and got a gift. That gift spread all over the internet. It made him infamous. They even gave him a little spoon, a straw, and a small white packet to go with it. We don't know what it was. But that's exactly how they catch us. They catch us on this. That we don't know. We're supposed to play dumb and say we're fools, that we don't understand anything at all. And they didn't tell us what was written there. They didn't give us an analysis of that powder, so we have no right to say anything about it. In fact, we don't have the right to say anything about anything anymore. Nevertheless, France still stood up. Stood up in protest. Especially since, on the eve of the 9th and 8th, there were attempts to inflame France, to stir up the Muslims. They needed to stir up the Muslims. They took some Muslim boys and threw pig heads at the mosques. On one of them they wrote "Macron." Again, this was done to inflame the population. And so France is burning. Everything is blocked. It won't stop today, and today is September 11th. This started on September 10th, and it won't stop until the 21st. All of this will continue until the solar eclipse. They're creating a kind of corridor of fire from the sun, or rather from the lunar eclipse to the solar eclipse. From the 7th, that's the lunar eclipse in September, until the 21st, Europe will be burning. Other countries too. Everything will be exploding. Israel started bombing Qatar. Then there's Latin America, Venezuela. Who is Venezuela? That's Russia. Venezuela is Russian specialists. They bought up the whole country, bought everything, just like they bought Egypt. Who bought the entire Soviet canal? Russian specialists, intelligence services, the military bought it. You didn't know? Did you think the Egyptians were making a profit? No, it's all our military oligarchs. They all live there. They all get money there. And Russia was left out. This unprofitable segment of the population, old women, useless, foolish old men. Who else do we have? Young people who can't do a damn thing. They don't understand anything, don't want to understand, and don't want to learn. This is all a liquidation layer of the population which will be eliminated. You don't think so. And you tell me, why live at all? Why live and just take up space? Why does a fool even exist in this world just like that? It's not me who thinks this way. That's how the high authorities up there, the ones above us, think. That's how they reason. If you don't want to, if you're already a fool, then be a complete fool. Repeat what you're told. Dress your children up in those side caps. A side cap is a symbol of the feminine principle, right? A side cap is a symbol of the female genitalia. That's what it is. That's why every little soldier was made to wear those silly side caps. Don't you remember? But think about it. Look at how a side cap is made. And how people laughed at your little soldiers during World War II. This was introduced during World War II. They laughed at all the Russian soldiers, they really did. Because how were they born? What were they born from? These young boys were born and raised in Samara, which is widely known as the most debauched and morally corrupt province in the entire region. That is, the revolution gave rise to the Samara province, and in the Samara province there were indeed 10 brothels for every 1,000 people, a truly significant number. 10 brothels. If I'm not mistaken, friends, I could be wrong. Actually, I think there were, well, in general, I think there were 1,100 brothels. I think that's right. Well, I can't even say for sure right now. Or maybe it was 10 brothels for every 100 people. Someone calculated it like that, posted it somewhere. But the fact is there were just brothels everywhere there. There weren't any decent women there, and there weren't any decent children either. Everyone was subjected to these public abuses. Because that was the essence of the birth of a new generation, new people. Those who later put on pilot caps and went to war. You can't even imagine how the Russian people were abused. What was done to Russians? What was done to the Russian people? First of all, they were never really Russian, but that's not the point. What matters is that peoples lived on this land. Nothing was left of them. They were all crucified on a sexual cross. Revolutions. Revolutions. And they're all sexual. They are never normal, my friends. You can't even imagine what a revolution is. It's sex, it's violence, it's blood, it's fraud, looting. That's what a revolution is. Has anyone ever told you what a revolution really is? Then at least study the essence of each revolution for yourselves. In France, there was a revolution. Somewhere a French lady with a torn open chest. We are expecting her, she will be here soon. Someone among us has to bear the cross of France. It will definitely be a woman who bears it. Maybe it will be Macron's wife. What do you think, huh? I am Tanya Karatsuba Said Burkan, September 11th, 2025.